A lot of people struggle with losing that last bit of belly fat, especially that stubborn lower belly fat. If you've done any research on how to lose belly fat, you probably know by now that the number one way to do it is through diet. But for many of you, every time you try to diet, you either give up or you quit because the diet is either too demanding on your already busy life or too complex and too restrictive to actually stick to. So today I want to go over how just one meal a day can help you lose that last bit of belly fat faster and easier than most other dieting methods. As with any dieting method, as we burn fat from our arms, our legs, and our face, we'll eventually tap into our fat stores in our belly area. I say eventually because the unfortunate truth that no one wants to hear is that the stomach area is usually one of the first spots that our body likes to accumulate fat, and it's usually one of the last spots to go. This may not make sense to you, but it makes sense to your body from an energy conservation standpoint. It's a lot easier to carry pounds of stored fat closer to the center of your body rather than distal areas like your hands, your feet, and your face. But don't worry, stick with me through this video and I'll show you exactly how just one simple meal a day will help you burn that stubborn fat and keep it from coming back. The key to burning that stubborn lower belly fat is consistently sticking to an effective diet plan until your body has no choice but to begin using the fat from your stomach area as energy. One meal a day intermittent fasting is one of the easiest diet plans that people can consistently stick to over the long haul because it's not restrictive, and when done correctly, it really doesn't feel like you're dieting at all. I'm sure a lot of you are probably thinking, one meal a day, isn't that unhealthy? Won't it slow my metabolism down and be bad for fat loss? So before I jump right into this fasting method, I want to talk about the myths associated with OMAD, also known as the one meal a day diet. We've all been told since we were little kids that we have to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and some of us have been told to eat even more often, like 5 or 6 meals a day, to be healthy and to lose weight. But is that true? The answer is no. Usually the whole idea of the most natural way of eating is to have 3 square meals a day, with breakfast being your biggest meal. However, this eating strategy didn't come from scientific or biological necessity. It came from cultural patterns that developed over time. Although ancient Romans believed in eating just one meal a day, by the time European settlers came to America, they brought with them a mostly English culture of eating 3 square meals a day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner became an even more popular idea when it was used by settlers to look down on Native Americans for not being a civilized group of people because they ate based on when they were hungry and based on the availability of food rather than on a set schedule. After that, farming practices, social status, work life, electricity, and the Industrial Revolution all further shaped our cultural norm to eat 3 meals a day. Again, none of this was based on science, but rather it was based on cultural ideas that stacked on top of each other over time. For example, one of the more recent ideas was having dinner with the family at 6 o'clock when everyone got home from work. This idea became more popular within the last 100 years, right around when electricity and light bulbs became more common in households, which allowed us to prepare meals later at night. If we choose to continue following this cultural dogma of having to eat 3 or 5 or 6 meals a day, the only way to lower our total food intake and our calorie intake is by having smaller, less filling meals. The truth is that most of us prefer to eat until we feel full. Most of us also don't want to feel obligated to cook and eat all day. Most of us would like to lose belly fat while still enjoying the food we love. And most of us want to live longer and maintain a healthy weight and body fat throughout our lives. Fasting and the one meal a day diet can help us do all of those things. As unorthodox as this might sound, one of the most effective ways to lower insulin levels, lower our hunger, and lose weight and body fat is to only eat one meal a day. When you don't eat for 10 to 12 hours, a couple things happen. Your body depletes its glycogen stores, your insulin levels will drop way down, and your body begins to produce ketone bodies in the liver so it can use its own body fat as energy. On top of that, eating one meal a day and fasting in general has been linked with anti-aging benefits, longevity, mental clarity, the prevention of brain degenerative diseases, an improved immune system, and being more productive throughout the day. That's right, eating one meal a day can help you have way more energy, and it can help you get way more done throughout the day. On top of that, in regard to burning that stubborn belly fat, if you're eating one meal a day, you can have much bigger meals without going over your total daily calorie and macro limits. This means you can create a negative energy balance and burn fat eating more of the foods that you crave and love. Once you get the hang of the 1 meal a day diet, which I'll lay out for you in a second, you won't even have to track your calories or your macros, and the beautiful thing is, by not restricting yourself on a daily basis and by allowing yourself to eat the food that you love, you prevent binge eating. With the 1 meal a day diet, most people prefer to skip breakfast and lunch because if they have either of those meals, their blood sugar goes up and then a few hours later it comes crashing down. And this cycle makes them hungry and it also makes them crave food throughout the whole day. Most people following an OMAD diet have just one meal at night because they can go to sleep not long afterwards and get through the day consuming a very minimal amount of calories. Now you might be like, hold on, there is no way I can skip breakfast, and there's even less of a chance that I can skip both breakfast and lunch. I'll be so incredibly hungry. Well, the truth is that your body will adjust to certain feeding schedules, and right now, you're stuck in the 3 meal a day loop. Not only is ghrelin, which is also known as your hunger hormone, not only is that released at the time of day that you normally eat your meals, but insulin is also released every time you eat. Insulin prevents you from burning fat and using stored fat as energy, and it also stores blood glucose as fat. So typically most people's days go like this. They have a release of ghrelin in the morning simply because their body has learned to expect breakfast. That ghrelin makes them feel hungry, so they have breakfast, which spikes their blood sugar and their insulin levels as well. Then insulin will usually store some of that energy as fat, and it'll prevent you from burning stored body fat for energy. Then, as insulin shuttles that blood sugar into your cells and your fat cells, your blood sugar drops and you start feeling tired. So what do? You eat lunch. Once again, starting this whole process over again. Then after another spike and another drop in your blood sugar, that leads you right to dinner, and then finally to a late night snack. The irony of all this is that when you eat that big breakfast, most of the time it leads you to feeling starving for lunch, so you have a big lunch. Then the big lunch makes you starving for dinner, so you eat a big dinner. To break out of this vicious cycle, you simply need to give your body and hormones time to adapt and adjust. Start with a simple fasting protocol like intermittent fasting, where you allow yourself an 8-hour feeding window and you fast for the other 16 hours of the day. Usually people will just skip breakfast and have their first meal around 1 o'clock. As your body adjusts and the early morning hunger pangs subside, you can try to shorten your eating window to only 6 hours. Then shorten it further to 4 hours, which is actually referred to as the warrior diet. And then finally you progress to OMAD, which is again 1 meal a day. During that one meal, you'll enjoy your food more, so even healthy foods like vegetables will taste great and will be much more appreciated by your palate. Now, I do have to mention that in the beginning, some people will feel like they want to binge and eat everything in sight because they haven't eaten all day long. A big enough binge can cause you to gain more belly fat even if you only were doing it once a day. So in the very beginning, you may want to count your calories and track your macros to make sure that you're not overdoing it. But I have an even easier method to ensure that you don't overeat during that one meal without tracking what you're eating. You would start your meal with 2 to 3 cups of veggies. Finish your veggies before moving on to your protein source. After eating your protein source, you can then move on to your healthy carbs. And finally, after all of that, you can satisfy whatever remaining cravings you have left. I promise you, this simple strategy works wonders. Again, veggies, then protein, then healthy carbs, and then finally, your cravings are last. Because you are fasting all day, you'll actually enjoy the veggies and all the other healthy food that a lot of you normally wouldn't even want to eat. At the same time, you're going to be taking in an abundance of healthy nutrients. You'll also be filling up your stomach. By doing this, you'll lower your desire for junk food, and by the time you get to your cravings, you may not even want the junk food that you really wanted originally. And if you do, you'll eat way less of it before you're full. Guys, the 1 meal a day diet will help you save time, money, and calories, allowing you to lose weight and ultimately belly fat without the hassle of a regular diet plan. I've been having 1 meal a day for quite a while now, and it 100% is something that can be part of your lifestyle rather than just some random fad diet that you yo-yo on and off of. It definitely works, and I highly recommend that you ignore the myths that have been drilled into your head since you were a kid. Just try it out for a few weeks. I promise you, once you get past the initial hunger pangs in the beginning, you won't regret it. Also, feel free to do a Google search and research the OMAD diet yourself. You'll see that everything I said in this video is backed by solid scientific research. That's it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope I taught you something new. If you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe to this channel and feel free to visit my website where we're running a free 6-week challenge that on average has my clients losing 20 pounds or 5% body fat in just 6 weeks. The really cool thing is that you can get it for free by simply sticking to the plan and following through on your end. You get an accountability coach, a meal plan, a recipe book, and a workout plan, as well as guidance the whole way through. You can apply for the challenge by clicking the link below. The website is gravitytransformation.com. I'll see you guys soon.
Pump it.